Yes, today on DOOP by the River, that's going to do it for yet again another regular season. The Philadelphia concluded last Sunday against Toronto. We're going to break that down. Some awards, it's award season. Some award nominees came out today, and well, we're not happy about it. We're going to talk about it. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. And then, of course, it is playoff time, ladies and gentlemen. The Union will be in round one, but that doesn't mean we can't have fun and talk about it. So don't you dare go anywhere because you do not want to miss this episode of DOOP by the River. Let's get this started, guys. Done!
DOOP by the River
doesn't do anything well. There is not one.
I'm sorry. There was no creativity.
As a Union fan, I take that all day.
Another DP. We need to go get Mario Balotelli.
And that is right. Welcome, everyone, to DOOP by the River, the show where we follow everything Philadelphia Union. And, of course, we are brought to you by Philly Sports Network. Before we dive into today's episode of DOOP by the River, first off, we want to welcome everyone for tuning on in. Thank you for spending time with us. Of course, we are live on El Parcero Philly's YouTube channel. Do solid and like the video. And, of course, subscribe for all of your live viewings of DOOP by the River. And, of course, we are available wherever you stream podcasts. Find us under Apple, Google, and Spotify. Find us under DOOP by the River podcast. And, of course, ladies and gentlemen, today, please welcome my expert in duping, my man, Justin Hungarian Screwjob Friedberg. What's up, Justin? What's going on, man?
Not much. It's been another. We're at the end of another regular season, and God, it's thinking about the playoffs. I mean, I'm excited, but it is already wild to think about. First round and Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then boom, the Union play Thursdays. It's like we don't even have too much time to think about it, and it's gonna be off and running. And by the first week in November, we'll have an MLS Cup champion. So it's daunting to think about, but hey, that's why we're here, right?
Dude, a month from now we can be either really, really happy or really, really sad. So yeah, it is crazy how that goes about. But Justin, you know what? It's wild to me. Like this time last year, the Union. You know where I'm going with this. The Union literally were carrying Philadelphia sports. They were literally the best team. They made the playoffs. The Eagles were not that good, and the Phillies had another collapse. But now this year, there is a whole different buzz in Philadelphia with all these teams. As I'm wearing my Flyers jerseys are winning right now. But
I was gonna say, I mean, come on. I've been watching the Flyers game, and they've been talking about the Phillies are playing tomorrow and the Eagles on Sunday, and I'm like,
this is exciting, man.
I'm like, yeah, you did Ray. I'm like, hey, Ray Ferraro, John Buccigac, did you miss the part where the best team in Philadelphia, the Union, are playing, next Thursday? Like, hey, put some respect on the Union's names, which apparently the MLS didn't. But hey, hey, I'm not Don Garber.
The calm before the storm, Justin. It should be a lot of fun. I'm excited for it. But real quick today, I wanted to talk about the season finale of the Philadelphia Union, the great reality TV show we love to watch every single week. That is the Union. Justin, the Philadelphia Union capped off another incredible season in the only way that they could. We all know how dominant that they have been at home this year, and they continued it on Sunday and on decision day. Really, the only decision that would need to be made was the Union to stamp their place as the number one seed in the Eastern Conference, and that they did, as they would win 4-0 against Toronto FC. The Italians were left happyless on Sunday. And then for your Philadelphia Union, Jimmy was not playing any games. He wants these guys to go full force, especially with the bye week that they're currently on right now. So the usual suspects, obviously, we all knew Kai Wagner was suspended, so Matt Rial will get to start the left shuttle midfielder. Of course, Andre Blake and goal, as Justin would say, put that in permanent marker. The rest of your back line, Elliot Glezis and Mbaizo got to start at the right. The midfield, Leon Flock at the left and Brujo Martinez. In a surprise, Jack McGlynn got to start over Ali Bedoya, which we will talk about his status coming up in just a second. With Daniel Gazak at the tip of the diamond and Mikel Ua and Julian Carranza as your two forwards. Justin, I want to, I don't think we need to spend too much time on it. It was a typical dominant performance at the finale for the Union season as they gear up for the playoffs. But any takeaways or just how you're feeling following another successful campaign, brother?
For one, Matty Real had himself a game. I mean,
Hey,
he listen, it's a lot to ask for to step in for who probably will be the defender of the year in Kai Wagner. Like that's a big shoes to fill, and defensively and offensively, Matt Real was bringing it every moment. I mean, he had the task. Bernadeschi was on his side, and between him and Leon, and they were harassing Bernadeschi. Bernadeschi, first off, I mean, I thought Brazilians were known for flopping. My man,
ha.
Italy, so yeah, they'd be turning over in their, in their, and they're, drinking their wine and they eat their
No, they
pasta.
teach in Turin. They teach those Juventinos.
It was just so bad. Like at a certain point, you're just I mean, the ref was having none of it, and like every time he look up, and the ref would be get basically the signal
It's
get up,
America,
and
sir.
it was like all right, and then and then Manny Real would come in, and his cross that you got kicked out and led to Daniel Gazag's insane volley for the first goal. But Manny Real was all over the place and up and down, and I think you could tell. I think Jim now knows that hey, should something happen to Kai, Matt can absolutely step in. Uh, Daniel Gazdag continuing the great form of the season with a hat trick, bringing his goal total to 22 on the season.
Damn straight.
Mikel Ua, him and Julian Carranza just relentless. Ua with a goal, and Julian, man, he could not buy a goal at the end. Like Westberg, like at that point it was already it was 3-0, 4-0, and Carranza just kept firing, and it's funny because Tim had placed a little bet on the game.
Did he now?
And I think the only thing that he had left was for Carranza to score a goal, and
Oh,
all the
dude.
chances. And I love Tim. I was laughing so hard every time, and Carranza, like one of the last plays of the game was Westberg sprawling out to make the save, and Tim was just laughing, I can't believe my luck, and I'm bent over, almost falling over him, laughing so hard. Um, listen, I don't think there was going to be a lot to learn. I think this was something that you knew the team, and you knew after Charlotte, you knew Jim was gonna still in this team that they need to get their heads out of their asses. Like, yeah, all their losses have been on the road, but at the same time, this needed to be a defined stamp on the end of a really good season, and to really make a determined statement going forward. And I mean, at this point, again, you have secured home field advantage through to the MLS Cup final. At this point, it's a very the way the Union are playing. It's especially at home, and Subaru Park is going to be a fortress. It is absolutely going to be a fortress on Thursday. I have no two questions about it. I have a hard time seeing anyone walking into Subaru Park and being able to go toe for toe with this Union team as deep as they are.
I mean, I completely agree with you, man. Justin, one thing I wanted to bring up, that Gazdag goal, the curling John. Honestly, bro, that was the best looking goal I see from Gazdag this year.
The
That was
funniest
beautiful.
the funniest thing was he said after the game he's never hit a volley in a game like that. If you looked at a lot of his goals in Hungary, that's not his style.
I don't
I
know.
think he can rip a shot and he can curl it, but now I think he's like, I've never done that. He goes, I mean, But look the way he hit that. I mean, he hit that about as perfectly as you could on a volley. That was just ridiculous. Like, I was in straight up disbelief at how smooth and how silky that finish was. Like, that just absolutely ridiculous.
Silky smooth, sir. All right, so Justin, I have to bring this up. We talked about this in the group chat earlier today. How much are we buying this? Now, it's not from a valid, Hungarian football. I'm not really trusting that these days. But, I mean, we do have to ask because the man, despite the conversation we're about to have in a little bit, he's playing at a very high elite level in this league that is starting to gain a lot of traction. I would have to imagine that there all have to be clubs over in Europe that would love his services.
I mean, yeah, I think it would be crazy to think after the season he's had, 22 goals, 10 assists on the season, second most goal contributions behind Hani Mukhtar. It's hard to imagine that he's not at least getting interest. I mean, I don't want to say it's not possible because given the Winter World Cup, there are going to be teams going to be sniffing, going to be interested, especially if players come back from the World Cup hurt. At this point, some of the best Hungarian players in the world are playing in Germany, are playing in England.
Yeah,
they are all over Europe. Hungary is starting to become a dark horse. Like they're slowly building. I mean, they were able to handle England and the likes of England and Italy pretty well.
damn straight.
In their group, and it's it's crazy to think, but I think realistically, yeah, it'd be. I mean, obviously Ernst Tanner is going to be listening to offers, but unless it blows them out of the water, I don't think you're going to let arguably your best attacking player go.
I completely agree. Now, I do want to ask, and you watch the sport quite a bit there, brother. Realistically, what is a league? What is a club that could ideally fit Gazdag?
That's a good question. The club right now, off the top of my head, that would do really well. I mean, he did say Italy and Scotland, but I feel like Germany would work for
Even with the 10 like this.
See, you say that, and the team that instantly came to mind because I think he fits with a two striker system.
Oh,
he fits
okay.
with a striker with one striker that can come back to the ball and one that can really go forward. And instantly, the team that comes to mind is currently top of the table in Union Berlin. Now, that might not be the sexy name that everyone thinks, but look at what they've been building so far this season. I mean, the Maximilian Becker and Jordan Pefok right now are one of the best, striker pairings in the league. Their defense has been pretty solid. I think, and that's the team that instantly comes to mind. But who knows? I mean, Italy, the teams that would come to mind. I mean, I feel like it would have to be teams that play a two striker system. And
very, very interesting.
Like I feel like, but Germany would not surprise me. I know he said Italy and Scotland. Germany wouldn't surprise me. So I don't know. It feel like it would have to be something again, a team that would wow somebody. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. This I say once the World Cup. I feel like the World Cup is going to be a big. Who is who's hurt? What teams need what? Because while people think the MLS is let's just grab players for cheap, if the MLS if these clubs sense desperation, they're going to squeeze as many dollars as they can from these clubs, and that's where the money is going to come in. The higher sell-ons, there's sell-on, your percentages, the higher transfer values. It could be a very bountiful money off season for this league based on how the World Cup goes.
Yeah, that could very well be the case, man. It's going to be really, really interesting. And that's why we always say, that's why when Tyler Adams goes over to Leipzig, that's why when Tati Castellanos goes over to Girona, you support that, because that only helps our league, and that only helps us as a club, as the union, in future signings. So I definitely agree with that. So if P-Fuck and Gaz Daddy become a team, where does that leave Justin and his Bundesliga allegiance, his German allegiance, man?
I as a the team that I've been supporting in Germany is back in the Zwei Bundesliga, the second division again. Greuther Fürth, they did not have a good year last year, and then the top flight, and they got relegated. But I think essentially as a neutral with no dog in the fight at the moment, I mean, yeah, I've been enjoying what Union Berlin are doing, and like just imagining if Gazdag was playing behind Becker and Pifak. I mean, they've been feasting on chances, and Becker's the quicker of the two, but Pifak, like, he's not a slow guy. He can get in behind the defense, and he's winning headers. He's getting those dirty balls in the box, and I keep saying this. I would not it would be amazing if Berhalter leaves him off the roster, despite all the bullshit about not fitting the system. I mean, Jordan P. Falk right now is one of the most informed strikers that the U.S. has to offer. There's flat
All
to say
right.
all of it.
All right. Let me get back to this match real quick, Justin. Let me ask you, how much did Real help his chance to? Because listen, I think all of us expect Kai Wagner to be out after the season. How much did he solidify his opportunity to be the left back next season?
I think he absolutely gave himself a very good shot. I mean, I'm pretty sure, I don't know the deal, but I believe he was signed on a 1-year deal to come back. With Kai going, and like it's not an if, it's a pretty much a certainty.
It's like a when.
Yeah, it's really a when, and it's gonna be after the World Cup probably. I think they want Sorensen to step up soon, but I also think the reason that they signed Real back is to kind of, I mean, he's young, he's 23, 24, but he's a good mentor to a lot of these younger homegrowns. I mean, having that guy who is closer in age, has been there, has had a lot of ups and downs, in his time, knows what it takes to really work your way and be a consummate professional. And I think this game, there's a reason, and we haven't seen much of him all season, but Jim has been saying for a while that, he felt comfortable throwing Matt Real in there if he needed to. And when he said needed to, he's played pretty well. So I feel like there's a pretty good shot that with Kai leaving, that Matt has a pretty good hold on that left back spot for next year.
I definitely think he will 100% be in the mix. I could see the Union giving him another year deal and another year option there. My concern would be, who do you Matt? Because I don't think that next year you go in with just Matt Real as your loan option. I do think they need to get a depth piece, and I don't know enough about Anton Sorensen. I haven't really watched him play. I mean, he really barely has been on the 18 in general. So I think whether or not they believe in Anton Sorensen is really the question, or whether they go and find a cheap option who they can probably trust for a couple of matches throughout the season. So I think that, to me, it's going to be an interesting position that they're going to have to replenish. Kai Wagner has been by far the best fullback in Union history, and replacing him is not going to be easy whatsoever, but that's part of the process that we're in right now.
Yeah, I think it wouldn't be crazy if they signed like an MLS veteran like they did
I'm in.
1 year with like RJ Allen, where he didn't play a game, but you had him knowing that if injuries happen, you could shuffle things around and throw him in there. And I think that could be something that you could do, and allow Sorensen the time to play with the U2s and really get more games under his belt. I mean, from what I heard, he played pretty decently for the U2s. So I think they're going to want to build on that, and I think
Okay.
like we talk about players being projects, and we said that with Bizo, like how many years were we just like, when is he gonna get a shot, and they were taking their time, and he's still very young, and he's far from polished, but is enough where you're like, okay, you can understand why they allowed him to develop with the time that they did. So I think some players develop quicker than others, and some just need that slow guidance to the point where, I mean, look at Jack McGlynn. Jack McGlynn was someone who, I mean, listen, we all thought Paxton was going to come along sooner, and then, with a few moments, Jack McGlynn instantly shoots himself up this year as a very dependable player, and sometimes starter over other players. So I think with every homegrown, it's a different path, and I think Sorensen, if he is going to be the future, I think learning from Matt Real might be a pretty good thing, a person to learn from.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Any heckling for Bernardeschi and any of the what? Oh, Lorenzo was even in the building, right? He was still in Toronto.
No, he was hurt. Richie Larea with yellow card accumulation. No, I mean, there was some heckling. Google Translate was my best friend Googling all types of insults in Italian.
You could still get in trouble for that. Trust me.
You the one with maybe questioning the size of his his rigatoni noodle. The size of his rigatoni. I'll let our listeners read into that that comment what you want.
Oh man.
But listen, some of the best ones are when you get a little creative with the wording. So no, I had some fun. Listen, heckling some of the best players in the world it's fun, especially when they play it like dog shit.
Absolutely, man. I mean, this guy's heard worse, dude. This guy has played in the São Paulo, San Siro. Like, he's heard much worse. So
he's probably gotten chased out by the Napoli ultras, the literal fascist club that is Lazio. I'm sure he is. I'm sure he's seen it all.
It should be fun. I can't wait to play those guys next year. Honestly, we'll see what they do in the offseason, but they definitely have a lot of defensive help they need. One last point, dude. Have you been keeping an eye on these ticket prices for the playoffs?
Are you referring to the one that keeps going around social media in the River End?
Yes, sir. Like 138 for a River End seat. Who is doing this criminal acts?
I mean, listen. If
we can't control that either, Justin, right? Like that.
No, that's the thing. If people want to be greedy assholes, I like. It's not. I don't really give a shit. The Subaru Park is going to be sold out regardless. It's going to be packed to the gills. If that person wants to lose money because they decide to be greedy, it is what it is. I can't stop that person, and whatever. But listen, I mean, I've already seen people. People are begging for seats, and like at this point, it's gonna be tough to find. Especially like I've seen people asking for like 2 seats in the River End, and people are like, good luck on that one. Like it's gonna be impossible. I thought like standing room. I can't imagine there's gonna be many seats available.
This is crazy, man. Like I'm still not used to this. Like I'm still used to paying like $20 for $13 for River End seat.
Yeah, like the more I think about it, like I said, I've been a fan since the beginning. I've been a Sons of Ben member since the beginning. Been a season ticket holder since 2016. I've seen a lot in this club. It's been a long time since, as we talked to Seba about, a long time from them getting kicked out of the park in Chester for a soccer camp. Like this team has come a long way. It's crazy to think about that. Like as far as we come, like listen, the first half of our existence, outside of some Open Cup final appearances, we were dog shit. Like it's not sugarcoated. We were not a good. And it took time, and the last 4 to 5 years has been amazing. Like I've been enjoying every moment of it, not trying to get too high or too low, not trying to
Just
get
going for
ahead
the
of
ride.
ourselves, just enjoying the ride. It has been so much fun, and I will enjoy every moment of this playoff run.
We want more. We want more. You know what's better this past weekend or this past week was seeing two of my favorite human beings, Alejandro Bedoya and Adam Booth, on at City Hall. Literally, you're going down Market and you look up, see Alejandro Bedoya, Adam Booth. I mean, what's better than that, Justin?
Not much. I can't think of much else. I mean, maybe us on those billboards.
We'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get there slowly but surely, man. I don't wait. What are you talking about? It's BS. Atlanta got it right. They're not scoring over the fan. Yeah, actually, Atlanta tickets are pretty fan friendly considering the fact that they have had a lot of popularity over the past couple of years.
Yeah, but at the same time, like when I went to the game in Atlanta, like it's been a long cry from when they were at their heyday. Their attendance, I mean, I know they have a bigger stadium, but their attendance seemed like their supporter section felt like half full. It just didn't feel the same as it would be in past years. So I get it, but like, I mean, it's not. I mean, I don't think the team's not really screwing over the fans at this point. It's StubHub is the team doesn't control StubHub. The tickets have been pretty reasonable.
Yeah,
normal value. So
just gotta be quick with it though.
That's why I made sure. I mean, when when my ticket application, I think it was in like mid-September, I did it immediately. I was not risking that. Like, I make sure I get that shit in way ahead of time.
Absolutely, man. It's a hot ticket. And this is kind of who we all wanted for sure, man. We'll see what happens though in the future when it comes to just game day experience and just game day pricing in general. But real quick, just I want to talk about the MLS today announced their award finalist. We all talked about the nominees before, so now we're gonna talk about the finalists. So we're gonna start off with, dude, what I just. Wait, we give out referee of the year awards? I just noticed this.
Yeah, that's a voted upon award.
Oh my god. You imagine the NFL doing this? That's pretty funny actually. All right.
So no one would win it then if it was the NFL.
Nobody would win. All right. So coach of the year, the Shiggy Schmidt coach of the year. You got Steve Cherondolo, our own Jim Curtin, Wilfred Nancy. It's gonna be an interesting whoever wins that one. The MLS Works Humanitarian of the Year finalist. You have our Capitan Alejandro Bedoya, Kai Kamara, and Brad Struver. Comeback Player of the Year. You have Jeremy Abobasi, Gonzalo Higuain, and Kai Kamara. I have a word for that one. Young Player of the Year finalists. You have Thiago Almada, Brenner, and Jesus Ferreira. Newcomer of the Year finalists. Thiago Almada again, Cucho Hernandez, and Georgi Petrovic. Defender of the Year, Alex Collins, Jakob Glesnes, and Kai Wagner. Goalkeeper of the Year, Andre Blake, Drake Callender, and Georgi Petrovic. And, of course, the Landon Donovan MLS MVP Award. You have Christian Rango, Andre Blake, Sebastian Drusi, Javier Chicharito Hernandez, and Hunay Mukhtar. Justin, just give it to us. Give me your thoughts, man, on anything and everything.
Like, first off, I mean, I didn't even know that Petrovic is in goalie of the year. He came in like halfway through.
And I'm also trying to think. What about what's his name? The Minnesota guy, St. Clancy.
How does Dane St. Clair not
St. Clair? I'm sorry.
Okay, so looking through, I'm going on right off of MLS's site. We'll start with the MVP. I love Andre Blake. He absolutely has been the MVP this year. But I'm sorry. Did Christian Arango or Javier Hernandez have more goals or assists than Daniel Gosling? No. Then why the fuck was he not? Like, it's not. There are there is a category where they had two Union players. I legitimately cannot think of a good reason he was left off that. Like, I'm not saying replace him with Andre Blake, but what did Arango or Chicharito do? Arango, I would argue, wasn't even really one of the best players on his team. I mean, he scored the most goals, but I wouldn't say he was the most valuable by far. Chicharito,
Can I ask you something real quick?
Yeah.
So I saw something on social media today. Is it true that these teams are only allowed to vote for one player to go through as an MVP?
I mean, no, because I think you can have at least. I thought you could have at least two.
I think I should be, yeah, for sure. Because I mean, obviously Philly should not. I mean, if they want to put Andre in, I'm not mad at because obviously, dude, it's Andre Blake, but Gazdag needs to be in that list, man. Like, I don't know why put him in there.
Well, it's also the fact that other categories you have more than one person for a team. Like, I mean, listen, Tiny Mukhtar's gonna win the MVP. I don't really think they're like. I mean, he single-handedly brought that team into the playoffs, and
he's a beast, man.
He's the most valuable player to that team, like to a team. Goalie of the year. I mean, Drake Callender had a pretty good year. I'll give him that. Like, he had how Petrovic is in here. I do not hope he gets many votes because the sample size is not nearly enough to quantify. At this point, it's Andre Blake's to lose. Like, I have a hard time picturing this award not going to him. Defender of the year. I do love that 2 of the 3 are Union. I mean, Callens has a right to be there. Without him, I don't think NYCFC survived the second half of the season.
Don't they have a bad defense though?
They have a so-so defense, but he's the reason it's not terrible. Crap. I still can't believe that Jack Elliott wasn't even nominated as a
man
on the list in general. I think the award goes to Kai Wagner simply because of the assists. Like, I think even though it's a defender of the year, I think if you have an outside back that ties for the league lead in assists, I'd say that's a pretty good item. Newcomer of the year. Again, Kucho and Petrovic were like not even half a season. So I don't understand that one. That one I got to give to Almada, I think. I mean, despite Atlanta's shortcomings, he had a pretty good year.
He had a lot of love, man.
And there were moments, I mean, he had some brilliant flashes. Like, I legitimately, he was just ridiculous. Young player of the year, it's got to be Jesus Ferreira. I mean, he was made a young DP. He was, everyone thought he could be a set number, low number 9, and that front 3 with him, Paul Areola and Alan Velasco, and also getting Sebastian Lletget, Paxton Pomykal. That team is a low key threat in the Western Conference. So and Jesus Ferreira is a big part of that. Comeback player of the year,
dude. This is a criminality.
How is Gonzalo Higuain? Can you come back from being a fat, lazy piece of shit and saying you could smoke cigarettes and walk into this league and be injured for most of your time? I saw Miami's description for why he's the comeback player of the year, and I'm like,
But
I
what's
started
Kai
laughing.
Kamara coming back from too, Justin?
Yeah, at this point, I mean, Jeremy Abobasi to me has to be that in this group. Jeremy Abobasi has to be that winner.
No,
Although I
Karanta
know
has to be that winner.
Yeah, I don't understand, but hey, I'm whatever.
We're just here
You
talking
know,
about it.
yeah, the humanitarian of the year finalists. I mean, all
I
three
can't really
guys,
speak on this.
Ale, Kai, and Brad. I think I try to keep up on what the players do, and I think Ale is very vocal about his stuff, and so is Kai. And from people I've talked to from who when Brad was in NYCFC, he's a pretty outspoken person and does a lot in the community. So I can't really say. I mean, like who give the award to for being the most community driven person. Like that's that one. I don't know. Coach of the year. This one is going to be tough. And I say tough because it's not going to be Steve Sharandol. I would hope not.
Yeah.
I know when the teams win the Shield, it is. But for me, it's between Jim Curtin and Wilfred Nancy. I am very glad that Wilfred Nancy was included on this. I mean, he wasn't even the permanent head coach at the beginning of the year, and he's done a lot with this team. I mean, Jim Curtin. We all know about Jim. Jim's consistently, he's been around. They've allowed him to really put his stamp on this team. He's done a lot. He's been doing well. I will, for all the people who were, yes, Pat Noonan could have been on this list. I just think with as tough as it was, but with these coaches, I just think it was, yeah. Cincinnati making the playoffs was a long shot. No one thought it happened. Yes, it was absolutely amazing. But I think what these three coaches did comparatively, listen, just because Cincinnati was bad for so many years and then they suddenly make the playoffs, yes, that's a big thing. I don't think that automatically vaults you into coach of the year. This one's gonna be tough. I legitimately do not know. I think for me, it's between Jim Curtin and Wilfred Nancy. I have the stupidest feeling it's gonna go to Steve Sharandol because,
dude, if that's wrong.
It's the the coach wins the Shield. It's that's what.
Yeah, but and Justin, every single one of these awards that we have discussed, I'm literally questioning what exactly is the criteria of every single one of these awards. For myself, a coach of the year, number one, they have to have a winning record. Maybe like a big turnaround from the year prior. I want to see some adversity. I'm sorry, but LAFC trying to integrate some, European star DPs into their squad is not adversity. I'm sorry. You guys could not figure it out near the end of the season. You luckily got the supporter shield. Kudos. But to me, that's not enough. I would put Pat Noonan as the nominee there because of the fact of where Cincinnati was last year. They did not start off on the right note, and still they drew to the Union and beat down the Union as well. So I just don't get the criteria. In my opinion, Wilfred Nancy is the coach of the year simply because of what he had to go through. You talked about he wasn't even the coach at the beginning of the season. He wasn't the actual head manager, the head guy. And to bring, look at all these players this team has. Mihalovic is going to go over to Holland. Kone is going to go over to England. You have Wanyama. The list goes on. So to me, it is Nancy. But every single one of these awards, I just don't understand the criteria. I think that's the thing that's killing the luster of the awards is that we don't know what you got to do exactly to win it. It's like a popularity contest, Justin.
Apparently, if it's comeback player of the year, you just need to, say that you could smoke cigarettes, while playing in this league. I legitimately do not know. I mean, because all the way he doesn't score his goals, I don't think they make the playoffs. But at the same time, what the hell has he done all seasons where it's also his comeback player of the year? I legitimately do, I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever.
It is absolutely ridiculous. No, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. We'll talk about the awards once they go final there. But the last topic we want to discuss today, we figured, guys, we would look at the first round match here for the MLS Audi Cup playoffs because we're not in the action. So we're watching from the sidelines and we're waiting for our first opponent. So Justin, let's look at these first round matchups and let's start on the West. Let's start on the West first, Justin. So the first matchup, this is the winner will be able to play against LAFC. This is really juicy, Justin. So you got the 4 seed LA Galaxy going up against the 5 seed Nashville SC. Dude, this might be the best matchup of the first round. What do you like? What do you see? What's going to happen?
Yeah, I think this is absolutely one of the juiciest matchups in the first round. I mean, LA Galaxy snuck up there. I can't say I saw them getting the 4th seed, but Nashville. I mean, you can't look past Hani Mukhtar. The man is. The man's gonna win MVP. He's absolutely dominant. I think it being on the road, I think Galaxy having a home game, I think that does give the Galaxy a slight edge. But I just think if the Galaxy can't stop Mukhtar, it's gonna be a tight game. I have Nashville advancing, and I think either of these teams, I think they give LAFC a real test, and I think either of these teams could beat LAFC.
Oof, it's going to be really, really interesting to see. I like Nashville simply because they've already been playoff tested, and just the defense and Hani Mukhtar is just like again, and maybe you know what too, the winner of this matchup may win the MVP. We'll see, but it is definitely interesting. Your 3-6 matchup, Justin, you got FC Dallas hosting Minnesota United. Minnesota, listen, they've been pretty consistent the past couple of years. What do you like in this matchup, though?
Yeah, Minnesota has been a weird team to analyze this year because for a while they were good. Like for around the summer, they were pretty good, and then they fell off a cliff. Like I do not understand what happened to them. I know they had some injuries. I know some stuff came up, but like I was surprised that it took them basically to the end to lock in that playoff spot. FC Dallas, man, I think they're the dark horse in the West.
I liked what they got.
That front three of Velasco, Arreola, and Ferreira is gonna be dangerous at home. I think for them, consistency for them has also been a bit of a problem. I don't know how tight of a game this is going to be. I have FC Dallas going through. It's just too hard to pass them up at home.
I agree. I'm with you. I like FC Dallas. Another Texas playoff game. You got Austin FC hosting RSL. I think I know where you're going with this.
Yeah, listen. RSL snuck into the playoffs. You can thank Portland for bottling it big time.
It's wild to me, by the way.
It could be a close game. I don't know. Austin's been up and down this year, but it's hard to pick against Austin at home. I gotta have Austin going through. I can't imagine RSL pulling a shocker. I mean, they could. The RSL, did it a few years back where they went into LAFC and that game was out of nowhere. So it's not out of the realm possibility, but it feels unlikely.
Okay. All right, let's move over to the East. The 2-7 matchup, Montreal hosting Orlando City. Orlando have to travel up there. The cold, man. What do you like here?
I mean, Montreal at home. I said Montreal at home is a dangerous team. That's why I'm glad that the Union got first, so that if they do meet in the conference final, the Montreal will have to travel here. Orlando, I don't know, man. They have not played well since the Open Cup. And
still a little hungover.
Yeah, the month-long hungover. I don't know. Like Montreal, they are playing better than the sum of their parts. They don't have any one superstar or even great players. They have a lot of good players that work well together. And I think that's a sign of a good coach. And I think we said it feels like Winford Nancy should win it, but we can also make a pretty good case for Jim, and we talked about it. But at this point, it's hard to predict against Montreal. I have them winning that game.
I have to agree. Montreal over Orlando, especially at home. Next matchup is a funny one as always. The 3-6 matchup: NYCFC hosting Inter Miami in the home of the losers, the New York Mets and City Field. What do you think happens here?
Yeah, I mean, I love that it was moved, from RBA to the City Field. The team that doesn't really have a home, that played everywhere around under the sun for a home game. This is actually one that I think could probably be the biggest upset. I think Miami,
Yes.
I don't know how far they'll go, but NYCFC are not the same team that they were in the first half of the season. They have absolutely missed Tati. I think Nick Cushing isn't a bad coach, but I just think that team was heavily reliant on Castellanos to really pick up the slack. It is going to be a tough one, and I think Miami could shithouse their way to an upset. It's not out of the possibility, and I have them beating NYCFC. That's my big upset for the first round.
I completely agree with you. I mean, another point too you didn't mention is Miami's coming in this hot. I mean, they're feeling themselves, and typically that's a recipe for success, especially in the playoffs. And I mean, look, we don't ever talk about it because we like to make fun of it, but moving from pitch to pitch to pitch, from Yankee Stadium to Red Bull Arena to Connecticut to City Field, you name it, like that really messes with you mentally. I mean, you don't have a home pitch advantage at all. And so, yeah, I'm with you, man. I like Miami in this one. I think that what Neville's built down there has been really special, and I think that's going to push them through. I don't know how far they go either, but yeah, definitely in this one. And Justin, it's always great to rub it in Mets fans again.
I mean, come on, the home plate at Yankee Stadium isn't the same as the home plate at City Field. How are these NYCFC players really be able to really settle in?
Oh man, this is great, man. All right. So that takes us to the 4-5 matchup, Justin. This will be who we will face off against, and both teams make it very juicy. So 4 team, the New York Red Bull, a club that we've known very well, especially in the playoffs, and FC Cincinnati, the team that a lot of people are scared of. What do you see happening here, man?
I think this one's gonna be interesting. I have a pretty good feeling that, I would say if it were in Cincinnati, I feel like I'd give it to FC Cincinnati. But at home, I feel like I think the Red Bulls can, despite their lack of true forward play.
Yeah.
I think they feel like the team to be able to bottle, really to be able to stifle that front line, that front three of Brenner, Vasquez, and Acosta. So I have Red Bull in this one, barely, but I have Red Bull.
I agree with you, man. I think that playoff experience really does go a long way, no matter what sport you're talking about. And for the Red Bull, dude, I mean, they've literally been the definition of consistency. I mean, they may not have a lot of the hardware anymore to back it up, but you make what's this now, the 9th, 10th season they made the playoffs consecutively. I mean, that's worth something. And kudos to Noonan, dude. What he has done in Cincinnati, I mean, I gotta give him a lot of props, brother. And if you're a Cincinnati fan, you feel really good about the future. He took a huge step in year one but I do think that the Red Bull will get the best of them, which makes an interesting first round for us come playoff time, man. Should be fun to watch. I got I got the Union over Nashville in the finals. Ian's feeling Nashville.
I
could see
I
it.
have an FC Dallas Nashville conference final. I have FC Dallas coming in, and I know I'm not. I know when I looked at the MLSsoccer.com writers, one of them did have the Union over FC Dallas. I can't remember who, but that was my pick in the MLS Cup final.
Literally just put the 7 Western Conference teams in a hat, and that's who the Union are going to play.
Yeah, it's a crapshoot in the West. I think the way LAFC played, I think the West is absolutely up for grabs.
I think 1 through 5, I can legitimately see in the MLS Cup final in the West. So it should be a lot of fun, man. Justin, so what's your plan for this weekend, man? Where are you going to watch all these matches? What's any fun plans for you?
So I'm not gonna be able to watch the game Saturday,
Okay.
because one of my best friends is getting married on Saturday.
Hey, that's awesome.
So I will be up in
Hammered
Chesterfield
somewhere.
I'll be up in Chesterfield for the wedding. But I'm sure I'll keep the updates on my phone. Sunday I will be in whatever condition I am. I will be waking up early to head back down here to go to the Premier Live Fan Fest.
Is that Sunday or is it both days?
It's both days. Sunday, I believe, I got my tickets a while back. I think it's been sold out for a while. Saturday, I know there's still spots as far as I'm aware. But I know I'll be looking forward to try to find. I know Morgan, our friend Morgan, will be there. Our buddies, the Cooligans, are emceeing.
Let's go.
So I'm sure I'll have to. If I scream, Taylor Hammer pork roll, I'm sure that's the signal for Alexis. But yeah, I'm gonna be. It's gonna be a busy weekend. If anyone's at Premier League 5 Fan Fest, hit me up. I'll be wearing I believe a Manchester United jersey. That's what I'm bringing.
Manchester United.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I don't know how much energy I'll have by Monday, but good thing the Union game's not till Thursday, so I'll have some.
Send energy drinks that aren't Red Bull to Justin ASAP because he's gonna.
Nothing that's gonna make this this poor kid with a heart condition his heart explode. But any coffee, espresso, whatever. I'll put an IV in and start that caffeine drip.
So I'm definitely trying to make the Fan Fest on Saturday. I have an open day. I'm going to try to do the impossible and go to Game 4 for the Phils.
Boy.
So y'all wish me luck. I will find a way to watch some of the night MLS playoff games. But yeah, dude, Saturday it's as they say, it's gonna be lit, dude. It's gonna be effing lit.
It's gonna be wild. It'll be wild that much for sure.
A whole movie. All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for today's episode of DOOP by the River. Big shout out to you guys for checking on in. We'll be back next week. We'll preview, obviously, whether it be Cincinnati, whether it be the Red Bull. We'll preview that match, and we'll keep you up to date on what's going on as well. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. Whether you watch it on YouTube, right here on Untitled Chapter's YouTube channel, make sure you guys hit the like button and subscribe for more live viewings. If you're listening live on wherever we stream podcasts, thank you so much. Again, make sure you guys are subscribed. We're available on Apple, Google, and Spotify, you name it. Make sure you guys are subscribed under DOOP by the River Podcast. I want to give a big thank you, a big shout out to my man Justin for holding it down with me as always. Ladies and gentlemen, that for Justin Hungarian Screwjob Friedberg, I am El Parcero Philly, and we are telling you guys to DOOP on. Enjoy the first round matchups. Take care, guys.